Whiteman out of the pack. Eyes on the footy by all at ground level. Mark's been taken.
Oh.
Not sure how we came down with that, but the mark successfully taken about 20 metres out from goal. Slight angle, and Gray will go back to convert.
Oh, I mean, we obviously don't have live replay, but I'd love to take another look at that because I don't think most of the Goodwood fans expected that. There wasn't a whole lot of noise to come out of it because they weren't expecting the call. But Ryan Gray now.
At ground level.
Going to take a set shot and directly in front. Does not fail the opportunity to deliver another lead change, this time favouring the Saints as it has for most of the game. And it looks like we finally got our live stream up, so it's great that Filming Footy and Sports Interactive have given both myself and Jack Moore the opportunity to commentate for you today. And of course, Archie's Thongs, our game day sponsor, at least for this game here right now, which is a very intense one. And I know somebody is going to get those thongs as well as a beanie after the match, so Jack and I will be deciding that in the duress of this last term.
That's exactly it, and that a much-needed filler for the Goody Saints. They're up by 4 points. Shock, over to you. Can you come again? They do. It's Lovelock going forward, but it's well positioned. The captain's put himself behind the ball. Holtzbauer takes it nicely and finds Jesse Johnson, who's come in and out of the game a little bit this afternoon. His kick goes wide. It's overcooked and dropped at ground level.
Ooh.
Once again, Goody Saints up by 4 points, so we're just ticking past the 5-minute mark in this fourth quarter, thanks to Archie's player of the game. Stay tuned for that after the match. A few contenders, including Simons perhaps, Kerish, Karkuro's been good for Shock, and Serene, Anderson, Favoretto, and even Dykesman for the Goody Saints. But anyone can put their hand up and be a match winner. Come up and rise to the occasion as the ball goes towards forward 50. Out the back. Regulation chest mark made a little bit more tricky by falling to the ground, and the ball comes into stalemate. Umpire Dennis Sester will take it 15 metres around from the Shock's goal as they look to retake the lead. Both teams have shown they're well in the fight for Division 1 finals. It is only round one, but it is a bit of a marker to see how you come out of the blocks after a strong pre-season. Saints look to clear unsuccessfully for the time. It's come at the back now. And off they go. Middle of the ground, they're still biting off that 45. It's a risky play. When it works, it looks great. When it doesn't, it's immediately turned over. And here comes Hartshorn. Goes down, low kick, picked up by Tab. He's tackled immediately. Well done on the fall on his back by Ridgewell. The tackle was hard. It was strong. McRae comes away with it. Shows poise under pressure, except for the kick. As it floats nice, high, handsome and long and wide and out of bounds, and the Saints will reload.
Well, I wouldn't call it handsome in the
No,
end,
that's
Jack,
very
but
true.
I guess it was to the pleasure of the Goody fans as the ironical cheers went up. Carlson goes down the line. He seeks the centre square. Doesn't come to the intended target. Clayton Simons, the Shock skipper, couldn't hit his target. Difficult ball to win out there. Of course, it's worth mentioning that the Player of the Day will be a contributor to the Roll the Dice Media Award for Player of the Year Award. So, always an opportunity to get those 3 votes to contribute to that ultimate prize.
Ooh. Just saw in the ruck there, Noble going up and not touching the footy, but rather making contact with his opposition ruckman, so correctly awarded a free kick.
You see how costly that could be as Jay Cleland, who stand up well as the Goodwood ruck today. Not an effective kick, but Nick Favoretto makes sure it doesn't go anywhere.
It's great to see. I know it's not AFL, Indy, but it's good to see players of all levels adjusting for that dangerous tackle we've seen so much in the news recently and placing players on the ground after they've got them in a vulnerable position. Onus, of course, is on the tackler, but it's good to see that players are adjusting. It's only round one.
And especially considering how much more tackling there is in Amateur League, it's really great to see that a lot of the tackling, for the most part, has been very fair above the belt and pretty accurate. That ball, in this instance, has just come over the boundary line as Anderson will make his way back down forward, we believe. So the Saints have taken back the lead early in this last quarter of round one action, although they don't hold it as comfortably as they would have liked.
big
Wow,
fist.
huge fist coming there from Jake Leland. You could hear the thump on the microphone. Unfortunately, that's going to be a last possession. This time, the ironical cheers going up from the Sacred Heart fans. It'll be going the other way.
Gee, Favretto didn't want to give that free kick away. Him and Heitman sprinted towards that ball, but the ball won the race. McRae reloads. It's a powerful boot inside 50. Looking for his coach. Down there, Kylotto went to ground, and the Saints have possession of the ball. It's tight, but it's a level of confidence you find in Division 1. Hasn't quite dove in that footy, rather knocked onto it by the willing tackler as he runs back and goes back into the forward half of the ground for the Goody Saints. Runner coming up to lay that pressure tackle. In the ruck, Noble's been great, wins it down, McRae tackled. Dragged back in under him by the Goodwood player. So the umpire correctly calling for a ball up, Gee. A bit of a sense of still, a sense of calm amongst the supporters and amongst the players. Hand over the neck. Well picked out, the captain in Favretto. He has not taken his foot off the accelerator. He wants the round 1 victory. He takes it long inside forward 50. And once again, playing from the front, you get the rewards.
Well, on that case, he wasn't leading from the front, Favretto. He's kicked to an opponent. Sacred Heart. Time starting to become of the essence, and every possession crucial, especially that one. Will Clark has taken the intercept mark. He's going to go down deep into the pocket. The intended target just dropped the ball. I reckon that was Ryan Gray, who probably could have taken a more reliable mark. In the end, though, James Ridgewell gets his hands to the ball. He can take a slightly less reliable set shot, but still another way to tick off another 30 seconds and potentially get another major score. And
well done by the half forwards. They weren't all moths to the flame. The contest was there. They kept a couple out the back, and if that ball did fall to the back, which it did, there were 3 Saints players available, and the kick came in. Ridgewell was there and accepted the invitation.
The crowd reaction tells you it all. A fantastic goal in a very important time. I mean, we've said that many times throughout the game. Every time is technically important. But speaking in this instance, 10 points the margin now. It gives them that extra breath, meaning that they can at least afford to play slightly more defensively, obviously without risking too much territory.
You do wonder if Shocks were revved up at half-time. They really came out in that third quarter with all the aggression, all the forward play off the front foot. Have they just run out of gas? Division 1 footy, it is a bit hotter, it's a bit faster, it requires more strength. The margin is 10. The next 5 or 10 minutes will let us know the answer of that question. Do Shocks have a second wind in this fourth quarter? It's the Saints by 10. They've put the marker in the ground and said, hey, we finished second in this division last season. You're new. If you got what it takes, come past us once again. Can Shocks do it? Saints running on top of the ground all of a sudden. They've been rolled up by their coach, Luke Donson, at 3/4 time, no doubt. Off the half-back flank, it goes towards forward 50. A 2-on-1, 3-on-1, and Shocks still can't win that contest. Off hands, out of bounds for a boundary throw-in, 60 metres around from the Goody Saints goal. They're piling on the pressure once again. Just a cramp we have here, so a minor stoppage in play makes us appreciate the fantastic day we've got on Saturday afternoon footy here on Filming Footy. And thanks once again to our matchday sponsor in Archie's. Player of the game will take home an Archie's pair of thongs and a lovely beanie. We'll announce that at the conclusion of this Saturday afternoon fixture.
And of course, it's worth mentioning that the player who does win the award will extremely likely be from the winning team, as we normally do, unless there's a particular exception, although you'd have to be carrying 21 players on your shoulders and still lose to be able to justify getting it from the losing team. Don't rule it out, but
I'm not sure we've got a Bontempelli out there today, do we, Indy? So
no, not quite.
The tackling all day. It's his fourth quarter, 13 minutes, round 1. You're puffing after a long, hard pre-season. The tackling intensity hasn't dropped.
Well, this is where the energy tanks come into play. And do Sacred Hearts have the energy tanks to keep up in Div 1 football? Because you can't keep the same stamina from the previous year. Standards definitely change. They get the all-important clearance.
Unlucky.
Oh, no mark from Serene. It looked like he was bumped a bit off the ball. He's just slow to get back up. Now Will Clark, he hand passes out to a handyman in Wackham. He goes to Dykesman. He takes a rip off 1 foot, but unfortunately missed everything. It'll come back in Sacred Heart's hands.
To get back in this game, Shocks once again are gambling with that man just about 5 or 6 metres off the direct opponent, and if the ball falls their way, fantastic. If it doesn't, it opens up a forward 50 entry for Goodwood. We've seen that now in the last few minutes. Taken down by Fairley. Inside 50 once again. Gee, they're entering at will in this fourth quarter, the Saints. You could almost say they're marching in. And it's locked up, and it's a ball up 30 metres out from the Goody goal. As Indy was saying, it's one thing to come up to Division 1, but to play a team who finished in the top 2 in the division last season and were pretty hurt not to make the grand final, having lost to both grand finalists along the way in the final series. It's yet another step up from Division 2 footy for Shocks. They've held their head high, and even a close loss would stand them in good stead for the rest of the season to come. But a win, well, that would just make them float on air going into round 2. We'll look at those round 2 fixtures post-match. Taken high. On the ground, Morgan, ex-Woodville West Torren Eagle in the Sandful over the past couple of years. Played for their under-18 program as well, and a couple of senior appearances. Meanwhile, Goodwood at the back on the Yardo wing. They're fumbling over it. It's a hot potato out there. Picked up finally by Carlson, and he's taken down in a strong tackle. As Shocks re-establish themselves forward of the footy. And behind the ball, they're structured up nicely as well. They're diving on it like it's the last thing on the planet. At the minute, they are absolutely out on their feet. But there's still about 10 minutes left, plus any time on in this fourth quarter, so anyone's game. 10-point margin. Saints up by that difference, and the tackles come piling in that occasion. Heitman first there. Hands on heads.
Heitman's had quite a bit of tackling pressure that he's been able to enforce in this
there he is.
Final turn. There he is again. He might
Hunting
go and get
ball.
his own ball. Clears it out. That one's going to wobble over the line. So another opportunity here for the Shocks to get back in it. Clayton Simons.
Behind the ball now.
Playing some defensive territory time. Cooper Brinkworth takes the ball in hand. Gets it to Cameron Rankin. He chips it over at the chop punt, but it's intercepted by Thomas Carlson. He gets an applause from the home crowd, as they'd like to soak up some more minutes here, but they won't get that chance. Huge pick off there from Rupert Peake. Handy kick into the middle, a little risky. It's called play on in the end. He nearly had enough control of it. There's probably 80% there, but now Heitman sends it back into the forward line. The crumb from Dykesman rolls through. Oh no, it's hit the post. Looked like it just would have cleared the way, but I reckon it just hit the padding.
Yeah, it just clipped the padding on the post. Gee, it's a lucky escape. They were out the back as Shocks tried to pick off that 45 to McRae moments earlier. Didn't come off, but they're full of run. They know the only way they can win this game to trust their structure and go down the middle. Umpires picked out a free kick. He was slung tackled as he kicked the ball, which means it comes back to where the kick initially came from this occasion. And it's out on the commentary side wing is Proud. So you can play possession footy, but you got to hope it comes off. Ridgewell intercepts. Here's Anderson. That's not pretty, but he's seen something he likes in the pocket. The mark is spilt and the tackle effective. Umpire's going to say, you dived on it. And it wasn't so much he dived from the ball. I think he didn't show enough effort to get that ball out of there, because he knew if he did, Shocks would have run it away. Indy.
It's not common that you see those calls made in amateur league. But interestingly, he goes down the line once again. Can you really rely on hitting the packs at this point? What is Sacred Heart going to do? How are they going to find an avenue to goal? This will be a difficult one.
Gamble.
Karkuro is down there trying to get involved. Had a couple of bad moments in the first quarter of this game, as we know. It's a perfect time to redeem yourself, son, and there's a lot of other players out there who'd be feeling maybe a little bit similar, although all in all it's still been a great performance. Win or loss, you've got a lot of lessons to take from your first game in Division 1.
Indeed. We've seen Noble in the ruck in the past few minutes. That's because Kailotto, the player coach in the ruck, has been stuck on the bench. He comes on now as the ball goes inside forward 50 for Shocks. They really need a goal in the next couple of minutes as we tick towards 19 played in this fourth quarter. As Kailotto is approaching, doesn't get there in time. Stuck on the boot by Anderson. G Peak's been good. If they get up today, the amount of intercept marks he's taken, he decides to take the game on. Peak from half back. Inside forward 50, Lynch runs under the flight of the ball. It comes out to Morgan. He switched wings. He goes inside forward 50 to nobody in particular. Reading it beautifully off the boot and coming out to Cornish. And the Saints look at the clock and think, well, if we take a minute or two off, it's a minute or two Shocks don't have to attack our goals. It was beautifully done by the captain Holtzbauer in that defensive 50 moments ago to read that ball, come out, re-establish possession. As the Saints look to exit, they don't. Intercepted. Quick play on McRae. Bo McRae. 20 minutes played in this fourth quarter. Shocks. This is a lifeline they need. McRae's gone all the way back almost to the centre circle. Approaches now 11-point margin. They need this to cut it to 5. The Saints players do their best to put him off. McRae from distance. That is beautiful. Bo McRae.
We've ticked into the time on of the final term now, over the 20-minute mark. 11 goals 7, playing 10 goals 8. What's shaping up to be a very exciting finish to round 1.
What a game.
Tell you what, this Archie's Thong sponsored match has really got a nice narrative built up towards it.
Indeed.
Very excited to see who will stand up in these last few minutes. You could potentially put your hand up in these last few minutes alone to win the award, depending on how much impact you have.
This is where match winners come from, Indy.
Don Pike once famously said, moments become games. And this could be another one of those instances.
Well done.
Sacred Heart get the early centre clearance, but it's cut off. And read well, much superior by the Goodwood defence. So they're just going to slow up here. Fairley is gesturing to Lynch, but instead they go a little further than that. All the way to the far side. Men flying through late. Sacred Heart desperate to get it now. They've got the momentum, but the Saints are in front.
Tell you what, Goody would be in a rush to get their captain back on the ground. Holtzbauer was brilliant in that defensive 50. Coolhead in hot conditions. He's currently on the bench looking to come back on now. But the ball is on the other side of the field. And we see so often players stuck on the bench for key moments in footy matches. And this might be one of them as the runner goes out now to tell someone to get off the field for the captain. Chance to go forward and put this game to bed, but they're tired out there. The handball misses. It's these little things, the millimetres, high tackle, the missed tackles, and he's off. He's away. He caught the Goodwood Saints players napping. Inside forward 50 now. He's put it on the head of his target. Lynch runs and tracks it towards the boundary line. Gee, that ball needed to fall about 2 metres further in front and it would have been an uncontested mark.
Well, Sacred Heart look like they've tried to set up on goal side a lot during this game, and that's how they get their fast run on, but it obviously comes at the expense of a slightly more reliable structure when the ball is cut off and doesn't come in as reliably as they'd like. There's a tap down there. In fact, it was plucked out from McCarthy and he hand passed to a teammate, but he was stopped dead in his tracks.
Just seen Fox come on. He's gone behind the ball as a bit of a loose man as well, as far as I can see. So they're setting up to lock this ball in.
Look at that. Clearance attempt smothered. They make a second effort, but it was hand pass over the top, ultimately futile. Comes out to the other side here as runners just trying to clear their way off the ground. Running into a bit of trouble was Ridgewell. Managed to get boot to ball though, even while juggling the tackling effort too. The ball spills over the boundary line in what's looming as just close to half forward territory for the Saints, but still outside the arc.
Clark on, but Holtzbauer still awaits re-entry for the Saints. Eager to get back on and impact this last few minutes of footy. He's attacking the ball. McRae, G's being good. Kicked that important goal earlier. Morgan, he's out on his feet. You can see it. But he's running with every single effort he can kick it towards inside forward 50, 25 out from goal. It spalls towards the back. Crosses down there, playing full forward. Jumps up, jumps down. Ball outpaces him. Strong tackle. Umpire Sester's not going to give away a cheap free kick. He says, boys, if you want the match, you've got to win it yourself. 24 minutes played. 5-point margin. Goody. You wouldn't say they're in control, but they've got the lead. They've got them where they want them. Shocks. It's deep inside their forward 50. Well smothered. This game is there for the taking. There's no doubt about that. Forget what division you were in last year. The next 3 minutes, this game is on the line.
And this could be huge to start the season with a bang for the winning team and potentially carry on that momentum to a very successful season. Snap attempt there. Fans got a little excited, but it barely snuck through for a behind. Not quite sure who got that kick off. I think it was Tom McDermott, but I have no idea.
The high pressure and the sheer numbers around the footy, Indy, it is hard from our perspective on the commentary side grandstand. Shocks have a loose man behind the ball now. It's McCarthy. They've rotated that all afternoon, which means Rana was allowed to run unguarded, unmanned into that contest. Lucky for Shocks, he spilt the ball. McRae picks it up. He's lifted in this fourth quarter. Going inside forward 50 now. Can the Saints hold on? Give Goody Saints credit. Apart from that one kick for goal from McRae, there hasn't really been many clear runs towards goal, any clear shots on goal for Shocks in this fourth quarter.
Well, they're definitely not making them come easy, and you can't afford to at this stage of the game. We're at the 25-minute-and-a-half mark of the last term in round one.
Left.
Crucial time. Massive tackle laid there by Mason Ellis. It might not be the game saver, but it will be at a time of great need. And they can tick off some more time with this one.
That was huge. I think it was Kakiro from my perspective there. Whoever that was, Kakiro it was, running towards goal. If it wasn't for that. And it's over!
It was the game saver in the end.
It was! Is that enough to win him player of the match? Who knows? If it didn't lay that tackle, he would have been through on goal, Indy, and he would have had a shot to win it for Shocks. As it was, there were seconds remaining on the clock, and the Saints, they've been brave. They survive a valiant Shocks who have come up from Division 2, laid it on a plate. They're going to be strong this season, but it's the Goody Saints that take the victory.
Wow. They survive a massive nail-biter there, the Saints. 11 goals 7, 73 to 10 goals 9, 69. Sacred Hearts, an incredibly admirable and valiant, yet ultimately just not enough of an effort to win this match. They can still take a lot of important learning lessons out of it, but the Goodwood Saints have won this opening round match, obviously with the very nice memorial service done before the game as well. This was a huge last quarter, and it was very fun commentating with you as well, Jack. So I reckon it now be time to probably make at least an announcement for our Roll the Dice Media Award for Player of the Year 3-vote man of the match. So obviously whoever is the man of the match will get rewarded with a Dartfish beanie, as well as our game day sponsor Archie's and a pair of thongs provided by them.
Indeed, and just going through those quarter-by-quarter scores, so it was Goodwood by 18 at quarter time, Goody Saints by 14 at half time. Shocks stormed into a three-quarter time lead by 2. Goody able to turn that around with a 2-1 final quarter and capture the victory by 4 points. Well, if this is anything to go by, Shocks coming up from Division 2, recruited nicely. They've laid it all on the line, and they're one to watch as we move forward in this season. For them, it was Seb Kerish, who was fantastic, and Bo McRae, special mention in that fourth quarter, kicking that goal, long-distance goal, put his body on the line. So for me, it was Kerish, Kakiro, and Simons as the three best for Shocks, and McRae for a special mention in that fourth quarter. Some special players for Goody, Indy.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got to give honourable mentions here, not necessarily in a particular order of importance, but I reckon while Nick Favaretto didn't have his biggest day out, and he was held a little bit at times, I think he was still a very good leader coming out of the midfield. I thought Connor Fairley really stood up in the defence, particularly late in game. Arian Serene kicked 3 goals, would definitely be one of my favourites coming out of that match. Jacob Heitman really stood out in that second half to me, and in my opinion had a massive amount of impact, which can't be overlooked. And if I'm going to be completely honest, there's quite a few to juggle. I mean, Thomas Lynch had a big third term. Will Clark had some moments, and Jade Cleland really stood up as a very worthwhile successor to Tom Carter in that ruck position. But if I am picking the best player of the match, the one who is deserving of the Dartfish beanie and the Archies, then I think it will have to go to Jacob Heitman. I think he was the best player out there today, and I think he's the most worthy of the award. Definitely some great purple patches from other players throughout the match, but none who have had the same consistent impact in the same way that Jacob Heitman has.
Agreed. A 4-quarter effort and a fantastic effort, not only for Heitman, but for the Goody Saints. Just going around the grounds quickly, we haven't got any results from the Glenunga or Brighton or Broadview Port District game, but we can bring you a result from St. Peter's and St. Peter's Old Collegians 15-5-95, going down to Prince Alfred Old Collegians 19-8-122. And Tea Tree Gully 15-9-99. Too good for Old Ignatians 4-3-27. So a one-sided match there at Taringa Oval. Of course, check the Filming Footy YouTube page for full match replays. And Glenunga Brighton Bombers, that will be one to watch, as well as the Broadview District game. And I hope you enjoyed all the streaming action this afternoon from Goodwood Memorial Oval. We will present Best on Ground with those Archies footwear. They are fantastic pair of thongs from Archies. And thanks to Filming Footy and all our sponsors, Sportal Scoreboard, of course. This Anzac Day match, I think there might be an Anzac medal. There is an Anzac medal presentation.
We'll tell you what, this might even help us decide that media award. So take a quick listen to this, and then we'll give you a quick outro before seeking out our best man of the day, today's hero.
We've got Alex Carlotto, the player coach for Shock, speaking first.
Thanks to Goodwood for putting on a good Anzac Day. The formalities before the game done really well. Very respected club, and you were going to get a good hit out and got that, so good luck for the year. Good for first up effort, boys. We'll chat more about our best boys Brendan Craig today. Thanks,
Alex, and Luke Donaldson.
And the coach of Goodwood.
Thanks very much, Jordan. To Shocks, thanks very much for the game. Had a great rivalry with you guys over many years, so we look forward to that continuing. All the best for the rest of the year. To the highway, I think Pakey, the manager's here. Thanks for your ongoing sponsorship for both footy clubs that allows us to play. Thanks very much to all our fans for coming out. It was a great day of footy. Our best player today, first game for the club, Ryan Dykesman. Well done, mate.
India Marvel, spot on. Brian Dykesman winning the Anzac medal here at Goody Memorial Oval this afternoon, and a bit shy of speech.
Thanks everyone, up the Satyrs.
So Dykesman is the Anzac medalist, and Indy, you are spot on, sir.
Well, I actually called it Jacob Heitman.
Oh, Heitman, you did
so
too, mate.
I wasn't
but
spot on.
You did mention that Dykesman was very close with Heitman as on level par as best on ground. So
I reckon it was more Heitman standing out in that last quarter, but definitely Ryan Dykesman is probably, I think if you look at the whole game in retrospect, particularly on replay, which you can also see on the Dartfish website and on YouTube for those interested, but yeah, I reckon there were quite a few contenders, and we already mentioned Arian Serene. They're going to go down into the club rooms and sing the song, so we definitely won't intervene with that, but I think we're going to wrap it up for today. So first and foremost, thank you very much to Sports Interactive and Filming Footy for making today's coverage possible. We do greatly apologise for the technical difficulties that have struck us throughout the day, and we really hope to provide you with better experiences in the future. Nevertheless, we have your interests in our hearts, and we really hope to give you the best game day coverage possible. And one thing I will say is I'm very excited for the future of commentating in this league, because I think Jack Moore was fantastic today, so I'd also like to thank Jack Moore, of course, from being such a valuable asset today and really proving his worth as one of the best in the amateur league business right now. I definitely think he's got a big future ahead of him, and in a lot of ways I've learned quite a bit myself today, even just by calling with him. I'd also like to thank Archie's, our game day sponsor, obviously for providing the thongs that we'll be giving to our best on ground. And that'll also include a Dartfish beanie as well, so we're excited to do that. We would like to thank the teams out there for today for putting out a really good contest as well. And we'd also like to thank Sportle, our scoreboard sponsor, who we probably should have mentioned more throughout the game, so we do apologise for that, but they do make our scoreboards around the country possible, and they do a lot of effort to make them as efficient as possible. The timekeeping was really good today. The scoring was on point, so it was managed very good, which I know a lot of people complain about at amateur league games, but today it was handled very well. And of course, we would like to thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, we hope to provide you with better experiences in the future from a technical standpoint and also from a commentary standpoint, because we are still up and coming and we've got quite a bit to learn. At least I know I do. I think Jack's jumped ahead of me after today.
Not sure about that, Indy. You're a star, mate.
I'd like to thank everybody for listening in, and this is Jack Moore and Indiana Rogers signing out. Don't forget to catch up on Between the Posts. If you want to get more of your Adelaide Footy League fix throughout the week, you can watch replays of the other matches and other streams on the Dartfish website and the YouTube channel. And otherwise, we would like to thank you very much for joining us tonight.
And Indy, thank you for your kind words, mate, but you have been a superstar today, and your call and your commentary spot on as always. And as he said, signing off from Goody Oval, the Saints by 4 points in round 1.